Okay, with this, I will hand it over to our next speaker, right?
India, and special thanks to Ramesh and Sanjay for having us here. And again, a special thank you to all of you, right? So it's a Saturday, that to a morning kind of a thing. So I know how hard it is for me, for everybody. So I hope some of those things that we are saying makes up for the effort that you put coming in here. And in the interest of this thing, I did this with ChatGPT, as you can already understand. So this session is kind of like a continuation from where Ramesh was getting to. This is an enterprise strategy for thriving in the agentic AI era, what that means. And this is me, right? So I have been doing this for roughly 14 years now. So currently I'm in a Big Four consulting company as the global platform success lead. So basically the idea there is that I help people adopt this internal technology platform that we have in our company. Right, that's where I lead a team of roughly 20 to 30 consultants who help people understand internally what this platform is, how it works. And I do a lot of other stuff as well. This is just a disclaimer that I have to put in, right? Because this is not my company saying, this is me. Basically, this helps me from the lawyers, basically. So this is the overall agenda. Okay. See, simple context setting, right? Nothing very complicated, very common sense stuff. What is AI agents? Ramesh already kind of gave an overview. I don't have to spend a lot of time there, thankfully. But what I would focus on is what we are doing, right? Like kind of what Ramesh is saying, trying to revolutionize the entire enterprise landscape. And my company has 450,000 employees, roughly 75,000 developers, and we are running thousands of agents in production, actually, right? So how do we do this? How do we think about it while going through this journey? What are some of the things that we learned in the hard way, right? And hope we can share with you, and then it will help you maybe in some of your cases. So let's get started with some context setting. So a lot of money is being put into this GenAI ecosystem, right? Like investors are going crazy. Like if you don't have the name AI in your company, for example, .ai, you don't get money in this market, right? That's what's happening. So you can see in 2024, just the first 3 quarters, we got more money as a company than 2022 and 2023. That's how crazy this thing is. These are some of the people, right, who are getting the most money. Obviously, OpenAI, XAI by Elon Musk, Safe Intelligence, Anthropic, Mistral. But why? Why are investors spending so much money? Because obviously they're bullish on this thing. And some of the first key indicators are actually kind of living up to the hype to some extent, right? So if you see, this is an analysis that was done by Stripe. They're saying the top 100 AI companies are going to make a $30 million ARR, annualized revenue, much, much faster, 3 times faster than the top 100 SaaS companies made it. So that means there are companies like Cursor, you might have heard of, who have already reached $100 million ARR, right? Which is a big number. $100 million business is not a small business, right? They're making it within, let's say, 3 to 5 years, which is a good number, right? So there is a lot of hype, lot of interest. Investors are bullish in this thing called GenAI. Now, how many of you know who this guy is? Free swag. Sanjay promised some free swags if just kidding. So obviously, exactly. So we all know OpenAI, right? The poster child of GenAI. So let's just spend a little bit time on OpenAI. So they started in 2015 as a research lab, right, roughly. In 2023, they hit a revenue of $1.6 billion, right? In 1 year, from 2023 to 2024, they doubled it to $3.7 billion. Like, this is obviously, right, this is $1 billion we are talking about. $1 billion is 9,700 crores, something like that, right? So you can just imagine, right, the rate at which OpenAI is growing, it's unheard of, right? No company grows like this at a $1 billion level, 100% growth year on year. It's not a joke. In October 2024, when OpenAI was valued at $157 billion, people went crazy, right? How can a company be valued at this? Just a small company, 8 to 9 years. Now they are valued at $300 billion, which is 1/3 of $1 trillion. So this is the kind of numbers we are talking about in the OpenAI startup, in the GenAI startup ecosystem. But the question that we are here to answer, right, which I think about, right, in my role, are enterprises, right? I represent an enterprise. Are enterprises getting the required return on investment, basically? I'm putting some money in GenAI, am I making money? Basically, that's what our CFOs, CEOs understand, right? They are putting some money, they need to get the money back. If you talk to CEOs and CFOs, unfortunately, the picture is much more gloomier than these valuations and all of this GenAI. only 34% of CEOs are saying they got some ROI from their investment in GenAI. 66% that means is saying, so out of 1,000 CEOs, 660 CEOs are saying, guys, I spent, let's say 1,000 rupees on GenAI, but I could not recover the money, right? So there seems to be some disconnect, right? Similarly, only 33% of CEOs expressed a high degree of trust in embedding GenAI into an organization. So Ramesh was talking about a little bit about, yes, sorry, yeah.
No, on this statement, actually, I was talking to one of a senior leader. Yeah. He mentioned that as an organization, as a business unit head, I'm not getting anything out of whatever investment I'm making. It may be my developers who are getting benefit, right? If they were claiming to be, earlier it used to be took maybe 2 days to complete something, they are still taking us 2 days. In the background, they may be able to complete it in a half day. Right, but as an organization, we are not getting much out of it. It's maybe the developers or the people who are using it, they may be getting benefit out.
Yes, could be. But that has to finally translate to the P&L statement of the company, right? Otherwise, this will not scale finally. And as Ramesh was saying, right, the responsible AI thing, right? How will my AI thing react? Can I actually deploy it in production in a bank, right? Everybody is mostly doing POCs, right? Are they actually using it in production with client data? Will you trust your credit card details to an agent, so to speak, right? Those kind of things. So this is the AI dilemma, right? Every business leader is facing today. Should I move fast, right? Rather than faster than my competitors, or should I just wait it out? See, man, what Standard Chartered is doing, then Credit Suisse will do it. So again, end of section 1. Key takeaway is that there is a lot of hype, lot of money. OpenAI is doing really good. They're going to get $1 million business, right, every month. But enterprises are still struggling to get the most out of their GenAI investments, right? That's kind of we can agree on. With this, I move to this concept of AI agents. I don't have to spend a lot of time here because Ramesh kind of explained this and I think we fundamentally understand. One of the things we need to understand with AI agents is it's not your standard bot or a workflow, right, with some Python script or some PowerShell script that stuff does. So there are some key characteristics, and if you read the OpenAI white paper on agents, they mention some of that. So at a very high level, one of the things that I think, like how to distinguish between, let's say, somebody who has done just a very nice automation on a workflow versus an agent is, at least there needs to be some level of autonomy, right? That level of autonomy should at least help them choose some sort of a function calling. They can choose like, okay, should I call this function rather than that function with some sort of a probabilistic degree. So it will not be deterministic. Normal workflows are deterministic, right? It's a if-else kind of a thing. So I have this whole environment. So there is this concept of LLMs, which Ramesh went through. Then there is a concept of augmented LLM, right? Which is like a powerful LLM with some tools. And then we have this concept of agents. So technically speaking, in my mind, an agent will have some memory. It knows what it is doing. It can trace back its steps. It has some access to the external environment via tools. And it has some degree of autonomy. Right? Again, this itself is like a complicated thing. Some person will say, no, this is not an agent, that is thing, what is Agent AI, what is Agentic AI? But let us just kind of agree to that for this thing. So most importantly, this was an analysis that was done by LangChain, right? If you see today, 50% of the companies that LangChain interviewed, right, 50% of the respondents, 1,400 respondents, 50% are saying they're already using OpenAI, agents basically in production. Right, so it's not that you have another 5 years to get your strategy, right? Because your competitors are kind of already doing something. Maybe some knowledge-based agents they have already deployed. For example, in my company, we have deployed just 530 roughly knowledge management agents. So it's a low-risk sort of an agent, right? You go get some data, even if it gives some wrong data, let's say, it's okay. Your company doesn't go bankrupt. So maybe they are using that, but at least people are doing this in production also, which is important for us to know. Because that's how we know, right, how the industry is going, and we have to some extent, keep up. But at the same time, everybody is saying that doing a POC with agents is quite cool, right? I get a laptop, you go to some YouTube video, I create something with LangChain. There are so many low-code tools now, right? You don't even need to code anything. But getting them to production, using them in production with clients' data, right? Basically, that opens up a whole new ball of, let's say, basically a whole new box of worms, right? And that's what we are facing now, right? Because now, as I said, right, we need to make money out of that investment, right? At the end of that, I need to make money of an agent. So how do I charge my agent, right? All of those things, many different things, I will go through it. So this is where we are, right? So there is a lot of tension in the system on this thing called AI agents. We all know it's very cool for demos and all. People will show you a lot of POCs, but how do we move to production? So that's what I'm trying to say. Doing a POC is one thing, but running an agentic enterprise, truly agentic enterprise where you are making business decisions, you are delegating some of the business decisions to agents, right? Basically actually kind of working as a pair programming thing. So that is a different thing. Okay, good. So again, end of section 2, right? So what we are trying to say here, which is the key takeaway, is running AI agents at scale is a different level of problem than doing a POC with AI agents and showing your boss, right? Especially in big companies, right? Companies with, let's say, 75,000 developers, 450,000 employees, right? The companies that I represent, it's a big challenge, right? And we are facing it. That's why we are trying now to think what are some of the things that we as an enterprise should do to make it simple to actually transform to an agentic enterprise. So again, a very simple quiz just to see how many of you are listening to me and how many of you are just kind of dozing around. So what is the current valuation of OpenAI? Exactly, good. Perfect, thank you. Thank you for being with me. Okay, section 3. This is where it gets a little interesting. So section 1, we kind of told you that there is a problem in the enterprise overall, how to get the return on investment, how to actually go to production, make money and all of that. In section 2, thanks to Ramesh, I did not have to spend a lot of time on agents. We understood that what an agent is roughly. It's like an augmented LLM with some memory, some tool usage, has some level of autonomy. It's not just a bot with workflows and some LLM calls to using Python or LangChain, right? But we also understood there are problems in scaling an agent across an enterprise. So in this part of the session, I will focus on a few key themes that we as an enterprise, the company that I represent, we are trying to focus now, right? Again, taking inspiration from the industry, white papers, on how to transform our company from AI focused. I think we are all AI focused companies, right? We all know that we have to focus on AI, but how do we transform our company to a little bit from AI focused to agentic AI first? Right? How do I think every time, okay guys, how do I do this in production? How do I push this agent to production? All of those things. So this is the AI agent index, right? I have this link. Unfortunately, I will have to open, it's your laptop. Otherwise, I could have shown this in my laptop. So that would have, but I have some screenshots, right? Okay. So what these guys are doing, so this is an initiative from MIT, very simple initiative. They are trying to list all AI agents which are running in production in the world. Every single AI agent which is running in production today, public AI agents, obviously, right? So the idea today is that just being able, as an enterprise, especially big enterprises, you cannot control innovation, right, to an extent. People will build agents left, right, and center. Microsoft Copilot Studio, they will build something, right? They will just run something with LangChain on their laptop and try to deploy it production. So just like any other system, treating an AI agent itself as a logical unit of, let's say, work, how do we catalog every single agent in an enterprise? So at any point of time, let's say in equity, I should have a thought, right? Let's say when Ramesh logs in, he can see, okay, these are the 300 agents that we have today running in production. So that tomorrow if somebody is working on a new agent, they don't duplicate that thing, first of all. And then there are different variations of agents. There can be some foundational agents, value-added agents. So you can take this AI agent index thing to a level that you want to. So this is the agent inventory. This is an actual thing being run by MIT. I took a screenshot because you can just go to this site and you will find this, right? This is actual stuff. They have, as of December, listed down 54 AI agents that they know of running in production. And it's not just a matter of listing down. Okay, I list down the name of the agent and I'm going, no. They have this concept of agent card. So I think if some of you have this, so kind of like our PAN card, Aadhaar card, right? It identifies ourselves. Similarly, an agent card identifies the agent, right? So this is similar to the concept of model card for machine learning models. So what we are trying to do now within our enterprise, we are saying, guys, if you build an agent, if you are running it in production, you need to have an agent card. So that at any point of time, if my critical business is dependent on that agent, and that agent has a security vulnerability, that agent has a problem or whatever, I know who to go to. So treating your agent just like any other product which is important for you. So as you can see, the agent card will have a lot of details of that agent. I will show you a sample agent card for this agent called Alice. So as you can see, the website, short description, intended use, who is the developer, all of these details of the agent is now mentioned in this agent card. So again, as an enterprise, one thing you can take away from this is go to your boss and say, guys, I know we are doing a lot of stuff on agents. Where can I see all of the agents that you have today in the system? 99% you cannot, right? Because this thing is still kind of being in this. This is what we are trying, and this itself is a massive problem. Just understanding what you have in your technical estate is one of the biggest problems for enterprises. So with AI agents, it is even more problematic, and especially with the low-code tools. The lower you make the barrier for entry to create stuff, which is what these low-code tools are doing, more the governance is kind of impacted. So anyways, so this is something cool that we are trying to do within an enterprise. So take this concept, put it within an enterprise, that's what we are trying to do. Second is this concept of agent marketplace. Again, these are all maturity levels. So you can start with this agent index, then you go to this concept of agent marketplace. So the agent marketplace is, so the agent index was just a listing of all of the agents, more like a read-only phone directory. But then the agent marketplace is kind of like the Facebook marketplace for agents to some extent, right? So this is where you now go in and you can find the same agents that were in the agent index, but now you can consume them. You can use them. You can directly call them. You can download them and use it in your enterprise ecosystem. Again, this is much more complicated than it looks, but this is a very, very good step to monetizing your agents also, because at some point of time, at an enterprise level, you need to make money back, right? It cannot be an innovation all throughout the 5 years, right? Initially, everybody's investing money, but at some point, somebody will say, guys, I need my money back, right? So that's what we are preparing for, as our company is preparing for. So this agent marketplace, and the good thing is, again, as I said, right, the industry is leading the way already. So if you see Agent.ai, they call themselves the #1 agent marketplace or something. This is created by Dharmesh Shah, who is the CEO of HubSpot. HubSpot is a CRM company, very well-known company. That guy itself is a very nice guy. So if you see here, these are all agents that you can go. So if you go today to www.agent.ai, again, I could not show the demo, but it's simple. You go there, you will see a lot of agents. For example, they have a company research agent, which kind of was adhering to, right? So you go there, you click on go, you use it. Today, most of these agents are free. So I am not going to the agent monetization. So as I said, your first step was agent index, just listing down the agents, nothing else. Second step, making those same agents available in a marketplace with consumption. Think everything is free. You are not charging any money, nothing, but at least you are showing all of the agents and allowing the rest of the firm to consume them. Again, at an enterprise level, these things are very, very important. Startup, small, no problem. POC, okay, but this is an enterprise grade agentic AI stuff we are talking about. Now we come to agent monetization. So you started with the agent index, you finished that, you've created a marketplace, very nice. Now we have to understand how do we make money out of those agents. If you see already the industry, again, the industry has already shown us the way. AI SaaS products which are agentic AI, whatever we call it, even GenAI AI SaaS products are growing at a 138% quartile compared to vertical SaaS and even horizontal SaaS. Horizontal SaaS is kind of anyways not that good, but vertical SaaS, which is what, let's say, PayPal, to some extent, let's say, for example, as you can think of them, or Salesforce, right, to some extent, CRM SaaS. Now, all of them are injecting AI, and new entrants are coming into the market, which are growing at 138%. So these are all agentic AI enterprises who have already found a way to make money. So within your enterprise also, now you need to think a little bit on that. So what are the different types of pricing models that you now start to think of when you think of agent pricing? Again, this is different from your normal staffing pricing, right? This is a different game altogether, and this is very complicated, right? We are trying to do it. It's like we have not yet solved it, and we don't know when we will solve it. But see, normally the traditional was what? Traditional SaaS models, what were they? We used to call them seed-based. So SAP, let's take an example of SAP. Let's say tomorrow your company goes to SAP, and SAP will say, okay, you want to use us? Okay, this is the per user rate, which is, let's say, $500 per month. And you say, I have 200 people. I go to you. I get those licenses. So you get those 200 licenses. You mostly cannot get rid of any licenses during the year. Again, next year you get the chance. In middle, if you don't use those 200 licenses, you still pay for them. That's how normal SaaS companies are working, right? Normally SaaS is seed-based, we call it, right? So you booked a seat, you use it or no, you don't use it, you have to pay for it, man. And next year you again get a chance to recalibrate, right? All of that. From there, if you go to the cloud stuff, this is consumption based. Azure, AWS, Google, right? That you don't book a seat. You say, okay, I will use this VM for 5 days, I will pay only that 5-day thing. The 6th day I will delete it, I will not pay for it. So that is what. So these things are all, see again, you can build your agent in these models as well. Technically you can. But what is cool is when you think about outcome-based agent pricing. So there are some very niche companies called Sierra.ai and all who are now pioneering this thing. What this means, and this is very, very awesome concept. So this is where you say, I will only charge you if the AI agent does the job. If the AI agent does not do the job, I will not charge you. There is no seat-based, there is no consumption-based. Only when the agent does the job and you get value, then I will charge you. So let's say, for example, a customer service agent. So let's say, for example, I have a company. I go to a customer service company and say, guys, I want customer service agents, right? Now, typically, what is happening today in the customer care center, right? They will give you agents, obviously, but at the same time, the more agents you use, their business actually is going down, right? Because all of the traditional people who used to support, they cannot accommodate them that much. So what is happening there is that you are still not paying for an outcome. You are saying, okay, I will use 500 agents per month, $200. Whether that agent is helping fix your customer ticket or not, you still need to pay that $500, right? That is the mode mostly. With outcome-based, it's not so simple. So in outcome-based, you come up with some metrics that defines when an AI agent has actually helped you. If the AI agent, so if I have a customer service AI agent, if the customer service AI agent has actually solved my problem, and I say yes as a user, yes, you have solved my problem, only then the vendor will charge me. So this is a different concept. It's called value generated per token. So you have a task. If the task is completed, then you charge. If the task is not completed, no charge. Again, this is very, very complicated to implement as well, right? You have to understand what is success look like. What does completed means, right? Is it just giving an answer or is it helping the customer end to end? So those discussions needs to happen. But these are important discussions to happen because these things will hit us as an enterprise one way or the other. Fourthly is, once you go to scale, right? Once you start doing all of these things at scale, you cannot just go with this decentralized model of, okay, this team in West Germany is building 5 agents. That team there is building, let's say, you cannot create an agentic enterprise with just a decentralized model. We tried that initially, right? We have been doing this for whenever OpenAI started, we are doing all of this in the back end. We are seeing a lot of challenges, especially in our tax business. So we created this tax AI agent factory. This is an agent factory, which is like, it's a completely different concept. I can go, let's say, hours on this itself. The concept here is that just like any other migration factory, now you have this agent factory. You have some people who are very skill set, then you bring in some domain experts. So let's say like Ramesh was saying that there will be people who are very, very skilled on the payment domain, right? Now they might not be able to build an agent always, or they might try a little bit with the low-code tools, but it will not be that level of agent. So you onboard them to the agent factory. So those guys become your domain consultants. You already have in the factory a complete process of building an agent, right? Starting from billing, monetization, marketplace, everything is integrated into that factory, InfoSec certification, PI, everything. You bring in the domain experts, you give them some training. So we do a roughly 2 weeks, 3 weeks training initially to tell them what is agent, this and that. Then we work with them. We have already created some foundational agents like data extraction from an Excel agent. So those kind of things we have. Then we build much more complicated, nice agents, which we are going to production. So this is where we have already gone to production with roughly 500 plus agents. So this is all coming through this AI factory. Now, once you have this AI factory and you have so many agents running around in the system, right? You need some sort of a agent management platform, right? Which we are calling AMP. Everybody in the industry is also calling it AMP. So what it is, it's in a sense, it's a control center. So let's say, for example, you have 5 agents. This agent is calling that agent is calling this agent. Somewhere this agent broke. How do you manage this? What is the observability? How do you know how much token got consumed by this agent versus that agent, right? Because you need to attribute the chat. So all of this thing has to be managed by a platform. So this is where we are building something called an AMP, Agent Management Platform. Many vendors have something similar. IBM watsonx, for example, has something similar like this, right? Where they can control a lot of agents. So this is a control center that ensures our AI agents work nicely in collaboration with human agents, but we can have observability, rate limiting, chargeback, all of the stuff that we need. This I will not go through. There is a difference between agent factory and agent management platform. This is at a very high level. Again, I will not bore you with some of those details. This is how an agent stuff will look like. Coming to this, right, I told you a lot about a lot of things. So how do we kind of couple it together, right? This is where we are today. So we have this internal technology platform already. This is the platform that I told you, right? I lead the customer success part of this platform. So this platform gives us compute, network, storage, cloud access, all of that identity is there. So this was already there. Most of the companies have something. Some people will call it a platform. Some people will call it a shared services. But on top of that, now you have this agent management platform, AMP. So whenever your guys need an AI agent, right? Anybody in the enterprise needs an AI agent, they go to the AI factory, right? If they want, or they build it themselves. Whatever they do, right? Whether they go to the AI factory or they build it themselves, they use this agent management platform. This has all of your toolkits. It could be low-code tools, observability, rate limiting, right? Agent build and configuration, memory management, all of the frameworks that you know, right? AutoGen, Crew.ai, LangChain, LangGraph, everything is here. So basically, this is a platform that either the AI factory or you as individual, if you're a pro-code person, you use this platform to build an agent. But what do you do once you build the agent? You publish it on the marketplace. So this is completely integrated, right? And obviously the marketplace is backed by the agent index. So the marketplace is basically a much revamped version of the agent index. And then your business consumers, see, this is where you make money. Till you go to this level, till your business cannot use your agent, and till your business cannot charge an engagement margin out of that agent, there is no point. So for example, I will give an example that when we were asking for funding, right, for some of this stuff to our steer course, so we said there will be a 15% productivity gain. Let's say we said, right, they said, okay, then I will reduce your budget by 15% next year. Only then I will give you the funding, because you cannot have both. You cannot ask me for $5 million and say I will build a platform that will reduce your operating expenses by 15%, and then the next year you again come and ask me for another $5 million, right? It cannot go on, right? That is where enterprises are now saying, guys, we now need to see a little bit of, we are okay to invest, but in this market we need to see some of the money flowing in. And to get the money flowing in, you need this marketplace which is connected to your billing systems, your standard billing systems, and you need a very nice way to build agents at scale. So basically, this is the high-level stuff. These are all of the stuff we are doing. Again, in a summary, we are doing this agent index to catalog all of the agents. A very simple thing, you guys can start with that, just cataloging all of your agents, nothing else, in a single place. Second, put it on a marketplace for consumption. Free agents, but put it on marketplace. Third is agent monetization. Think about how to make money out of those agents, come up with some sort of agent models. Maybe traditional pricing models is also okay. Fourth is thinking about this in holistic sort of a thing with some sort of an agent management platform. You either build it yourself or you buy something like IBM Watson X. Again, the third section key takeaway is, even though in section 1 and section 2 it was a little gloomy, right? We were saying, guys, the CEOs are not making any money, what will happen, this and that and all, right? But what we are saying is that there are strategies, just like everything, there is some light at the end of the tunnel. There are strategies that we can embrace as an enterprise, right? To kind of think about how to manage this concept of AI agents, enterprise-grade agentic AI at scale. So I spoke about a few, and again, once our journey cements more, we will know a little bit more. With this is the last part of the section, which is some closing thoughts. But before that, again, I just want to check people are still awake or not. So which of the following is a new revenue model for AI agents where we charge them only when an action is successfully executed? Perfect. Awesome. You guys are really good, right? You are listening, which is awesome. So now, see, there is a lot of hype. We all know that, right? There is a lot of hype. But we need to take some focused, iterative, credible approaches, right? Otherwise, our business will over time start losing faith in us, right? This hype will obviously at some point of time has to translate some real dollars. Otherwise, this will be like this nice thing, right? Where the CEO is saying, have you figured out how AI will impact our business? And this guy is saying, okay, give me some time, and asking that to ChatGPT. Right, so obviously we don't want to be like this thing, right? So there is a maturity model for AI in an enterprise, right? These are very well-known published maturity models. So what I'm trying to say, you don't have to suddenly think that, okay, guys, I have to do everything at day one. So as you can see, it's like a maturity model, ad hoc, experimental, systematic, strategic, pioneering, right? So you have to first understand where you are as an enterprise within this. very realistically take an assessment, and let's say you are here, experimental, which is okay. Then you need to understand, how do I move from experimental to systematic? What do I do to move from experimental to systematic, from systematic to strategic, and from strategic to pioneer? We like to think that our enterprise is something in the middle, systematic and strategic, right? We are systematic, and now we are trying to be more strategic with our investments and trying to make money back. This is the same thing that I told you about, but again showing in a maturity. I said, start with an agent index. Nothing. Start documenting all the agents within enterprise. Move to an agent marketplace. Second step. Third, start agent monetization. Fourth, set up an agent management platform and bring all of this together. Same concept of the agent maturity model, but in different way. This is something that we got from OpenAI. See, what they are saying is 2025 already, right, where we are, is the age of system thinking and agents. They have already established that, right? They just released, I think, yesterday the Codex agent, right, which is like a full-fledged software developer of sorts. So this thing is already here, guys, right? And as Ramesh was saying, this doesn't look like blockchain, IoT, metaverse, right? It doesn't feel like that, right? For those of us who are reading industry stalwarts like Martin Fowler, those guys are saying, no, this doesn't feel like that, right? The smell here is that this will stay and this will disrupt. Right, so again, you can either be at the left part and see, okay, and be that, no, this will not affect my business, this will go away, this is a hype, or you can try to understand what do you need to do to get the best out of this and put it into your systems. And lastly, I liked some of these quotes, right? One of the best things that Satya Nadella said is, and this is what I will end this is, our industry does not respect tradition, it only respects innovation. Because that's the nature of the industry we are in, right? And more this industry is kind of getting more cutthroat, right? Than even when I joined industry, it was a little bit okay. Now let's say Microsoft released 7,000 guys, I think just recently, right? So we have to innovate, both as individuals, right? That's what we are trying to do on a Saturday here. That's why we came, right? We are trying to level up our skills as individuals and as enterprises also. After you innovate as individual, you now need to help your enterprise innovate and go to the next level. Otherwise, all of that is meaningless, right? Perfect. Thank you so much. If anybody wants to reach out to me on LinkedIn, I'm very active there. And thank you again, Ramesh. Thank you, Sanjay, for having me here. And thank you, everybody, right? So kind of being extremely patient listeners and listening through. Thank you so much.
Anyone has question for Tuja? No?
Yes.
First of all, thanks for this session. You mentioned like you're also working on building the AI index.
No. The AI index, the public AI index is already available. It's
Right,
MIT
MIT is
initiative.
working on it.
We are doing it within our enterprise.
Okay, it's only specific to your
Exactly.
enterprise.
And that's what I'm saying. Every company can do it, is what I'm trying to say. It's not a very, it's just a normal CMDB. You guys already have it. Now we are saying do it for AI agents in a little bit different way. Put all of the information. So something where people in your company can go and know what are all of the agents who are building stuff, what they do, and all of that.
Okay, I thought you're like building something enterprise solution like, build our agentic AI, the way they have done it. Agent.ai, just publish different agents.
Yeah, so that also we have. So that is the second. See, Agent.ai is again, see, as I said, right? So as an enterprise, right, we are a $40 billion, $50 billion thing, right? So overall what we are trying to do, we are seeing what the industry is doing publicly, but then we are taking that and trying to doing it within EY, meaning within our company, right? Because it itself is a big marketplace for us. We have 450,000 people within our company. So we really don't need to build, once we build it and make some stuff within and it works, then just like Ramesh said, we might even think about selling it outside, right? Then somebody else might buy it also. But now we are more focused on stuff within our company.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. So again, see, my thought will also be a very standard kind of what everybody is saying, that AI will replace somebody who doesn't know AI, right? So in that way, but again, see, some jobs will go. See, Sam Altman talks about this hypothetical Lala unicorn kind of a land where agents will increase your market, basically. See, today our jobs are a reflection or a proportion of the overall GDP. If our GDP grows by 10%, which is what used to happen at industrialization, right? The third round industry or something. If that grows, then we are okay. But will it really grow that much is the concept. Otherwise, what will happen? For example, software engineering agents, right? Some domains are going to be very, very complicated. That's true. But again, it's better to kind of try to then move to the next round, right? So for example, in my level, right, what I am now thinking is, I need to be AI first myself, and now come to some sort of a strategic sort of a place where I strategize on how people, so I basically become the person who does stuff which lets other people lose their jobs, but at least my job stays. To be very fair, right? So I'm trying to think in my way, right? So what do I do to move up the game? So I used to do Android development at some point of time, but I am not doing that much because vibe coding and some of those stuff are okay. Now I'm thinking, okay, what can I do at an agent level, at an enterprise level? Because those things, agents will get to a little bit later. But yeah, it's complicated. Things are not very, very fine, but who knows, right? Let's see. I have no direct answer. Ah.
So now it was replaced by a voice assistant, someone, right?
Yes.
So a lot of people lost their job.
Yes. No, see what Sam Altman was one day saying, right? He's saying that yeah, not a lot of people will lose their job, but many people will also get new jobs like prompt engineering jobs, all of those. But what is the percentage? So if 100 people are losing job, are the company hiring 100 prompt engineers? No, maybe 10 will get. So you have to be in that 10, right? So to sustain my family, I am trying to be in that 10. And the rest 90 is anyways to some extent screwed. Right? I mean, it's not very simple, right? It's complicated. Things are not very, very smooth, but who knows, right, what will happen? Who knows? I have no idea, right? Maybe the whole industry will grow at such a large pace. So there's a company called Netlify. They are saying they are now getting 80,000 websites created per day. 80,000 new websites are getting created per day in the web. So if that happens, then obviously all of our jobs will also maybe stay. But I know we are on time, I think, Sanjay, yeah.
No, that's okay. I just want to add whatever you were saying
sure.
about the losing the job. People are going to lose job, no doubt about it, right? But who those people will be, maybe in a different case. I generally compare this AI stuff with maybe if you go back to 1950s when the computer came, right? The same thing was there, right? If you are more of a typewriter operator at that time and you didn't learn how to use Word or Excel, then you are gone, right? Those typewriter jobs were gone, right? So same here. But there are a lot of new jobs were created.
Perfect. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
You have mentioned about that outcome-based revenue, right? Who will be the arbitrator, like whether outcome is good or correct? If a AI agent company or marketplace who sold that, who told that like this outcome is correct, and if the client is saying I am not going to pay for it, so this brings one more person, right, or one more organization which decides whether the outcome is correct or not, whether revenue should be paid or should not pay for subscription or not, right? So who's the arbiter or who will take that?
No, so see, as I said, right, this is a complicated revenue model anyways, right? It's a very interesting but also complicated. So the company, one of the customer care companies who have pioneered this called Sierra.ai, you can go and check them. Their CEO is a very well-known guy. So what they are saying is, they are saying right now, every single deployment, when they are doing the deployment at the company, they're first coming up with metrics that define what success looks like. See, that happens in any consultation engagement as well. Let's say I am consulting for your company, right? How do I know? I will say I did everything you asked for, and you will say, no man, I will not pay you, right? Because you did not do anything I asked for. So initially what we do, we come up with this scope document, SOW, right? These are all of these things. This will get much more complicated than that, right? But
SOW in the sense?
Statement of work, meaning it's, again, what I'm trying to say is that those conceptually agreeing to whether you have completed the work was always there, right? There was some sense of, okay, have I really done my work, and then you pay me. Now they have taken it to another level, because you cannot every time go and check an agent and all, right? So you have to put some evaluation framework, right? Some metrics based or quantitative evaluation frameworks that, okay, all of the logs it will scan and it will tell that that customer himself says, yes, you have done it. Or let's say it automatically runs a tool and finishes the work for the customer. Then we know it has done it. So it's complicated, but it's evolving. I think that's where people are also going. Many companies are thinking in that way, which is a very cool way of thinking.
And this may be not exactly the same, maybe more of a commission-based model, right? If I am able to save you maybe $1 lakh, then you may pay me 10%.
see, that was always the managed services model, right? That's where we also use. Managed services were always like that. You come in there, for example, all of the FinOps cost optimization projects, right? You go in, you cost optimize, I will take 5% back of the optimization. That was always there. This is a little bit different, but this is interesting. That's why I mentioned it.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect.
All done? Good. So,
Okay, no worries, yeah.
You told me about, you told us about agentic card, right?
Agent card, yes.
Yeah, does that specify only the ML models they are used or algorithms they use? Also, when to use which agent also?
Yes, so yes, to be very, so basically you think of that see, if we are thinking of a agent, let's say augmented workforce. So when you go and say you have a CV, right? So that is the agent's CV basically, to some extent. It tells, your CV tells where you passed your class 10, 12, the marks, your expertise, the agent, because that's when, see the next level, I did not show that, right? That's what we are also trying to do. In that agent marketplace, once you go and search for agents, you will not search for an agent, you will search for a task. You will say, I want to submit my payroll. So then the metadata of the agent card, so there will be an orchestrator function, right, we have built, which will take that text, right, very simple, it will take this text and try to match it with all of the agent metadata in my database. Let's say I have 500 agents, it will say, okay, these are the 10 agents which matches you. So your agent card needs to be that level. And then I as a user will see, okay, this agent card, this. So in our company, we have also shared, so we have a talent thing, right? For example, there is a director. Let's say I'm a director, right? So we are saying, okay, this agent is 0.5 director. So we are saying this agent is basically enough efficient that you can treat it as a half director, right? For now, roughly like that. In future, what we will do, we will charge the director charge rate. So in director charge rate in our company is $120 per hour roughly. So we will charge them $60 per hour, right? That is the next level, because I'm saying if this agent is equivalent to one director, then you have to pay the money of that director. You would have paid the director normally, right, to work in your project. Now we will pay that agent. So that agent card is very, very important in everything. It explains, it basically is the PAN card or the Aadhaar card of the agent.
okay, good. So thanks a lot. Good. So looking at the time, I think time for a tea break. Right? It's 11:35 in my clock. So maybe 20 minutes, good enough for everyone?